Kat Bodden, naturopathic doctor and owner of Sea Change Medicine. Today we're going to talk all about gut health, and at the end of the video you'll get my top 5 tips to promote a healthy gut. Why are we having a health crisis? The first thing is this highly processed food that's in the American diet. This highly processed food, this is what I call Frankenfood. If you look at an ingredient list and there's lots of things you can't pronounce and numbers and you don't recognize it as food, you probably shouldn't be putting it in your body. The best foods out there don't have an ingredients list, or they have a small list of things that you recognize. No partially hydrogenated oils or added dyes. These things negatively affect our gut microbiome and can harm our hormones. So we have the chemicals in our foods. We also have the pesticides and chemicals we're spraying on our foods. How many of you have heard of glyphosate? How many of you have heard of Roundup? Glyphosate and Roundup are the same thing. They're an organophosphate poison that's structurally similar to Agent Orange, and unfortunately it goes on most of the foods that we eat that aren't organic. So say at your house, you spray a little Roundup in the backyards for some weed control. If you have dogs or kids at home, you usually don't let the dogs or the kids go play outside in the yard right after you spray, right? So we don't want our pets or our kids to come into contact with this chemical. Why would we allow the same toxin to go on the food that we eat? Doesn't make any sense. So we have the Frankenfoods, we have glyphosate, and then we have our sedentary lifestyles. Especially after the pandemic, most of us don't commute anymore and we spend many hours of our day sitting. This contributes to toxin overload because we don't have an adequate flow of blood and lymph. Toxins can't be excreted and they build up. And then there's stress. A lot of us face an extreme amount of physical, mental, and emotional stress. As life gets more complicated, we try to do more and more, and this causes burnout. How many of you have experienced this recently? So all of these things, stress, processed foods, chemicals, a lack of movement, these all create inflammation in the body. Inflammation is linked to pain, cardiovascular disease, weight gain or obesity, Alzheimer's and other types of dementia. And inflammation in the gut can cause conditions like SIBO and leaky gut. So the pandemic showed us that so many things are out of our control, but the good news is that we do have control and we can choose to do something different. We can choose to be proactive. Why is gut health so important? When we think of gut health, we often first think of digestion. Now, digestion is obviously essential. We want to make sure that we're adequately breaking down our food so our body's able to absorb the nutrients that we need. We also want to make sure that we're effectively eliminating as our bodies get rid of so many toxins through bowel movements. Poor gut health can affect digestion, it can affect elimination, but it can also cause nutrient deficiencies. It can affect our hormones, our neurotransmitters, our immune system. Digestive symptoms that can suggest an imbalanced gut microflora include bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea, heartburn, food sensitivities, and cravings. So what is the gut microbiome? The bacteria, viruses, and fungi that live in our gut make up our gut microbiome or gut flora. There's actually 10 times the number of cells in our gut microbiome compared to the cells in the human body. We're actually more bacteria than we are human, which is kind of wild to think about. And no two people have the same microbiome. It's kind of like a fingerprint. Things that affect our microbiome include how we were born, whether we were breastfed, age, diet, stress, medication use, especially antibiotics. And a kind of beautiful thing is a connection to nature also has an impact on the gut microbiome. Kids who play outside a lot when they're in childhood or have pets in the home, they have healthier and more diverse microbiomes, and this continues with them into adulthood, which is pretty cool. What does the gut microbiome do? It does so many different things. Our gut flora is responsible for making essential nutrients like B vitamins and vitamin K. The lining of our gut also communicates with the brain through something called the gut-brain connection. So our gut's able to talk to our brain through neurotransmitters, hormones, and electrical impulses. One of these neurotransmitters is serotonin, and having adequate levels of serotonin is essential for mood stabilization and feelings of positivity and well-being. So if you come into my office and maybe you're not feeling as well as you know you should, maybe you're struggling with anxiety or depression, My answer isn't necessarily just to give you a medication that increases serotonin and sends you on your way. Rather, I want to go one step deeper and figure out why your gut isn't making enough serotonin in the first place. Over 70% of our immune system is in the gut as well. Bacteria in the gut can defend against foreign invaders and also produce antibodies. So optimal gut health really is essential for optimal well-being. So leaky gut is a buzzword these days, and I wanted to just take a couple minutes to explain exactly what that is. Our gut is a thin lining of cells that in healthy people is designed to do three things. 1, keep digested food in the GI tract. 2, absorb nutrients. And 3, filter out toxins and pathogens, which are disease-causing organisms. These tight junctions can become compromised when exposed to stress, medications, we have nutrient deficiencies, or we're eating a diet high in processed foods and refined sugars. When we get inflammation in the gut, that means the tight junctions become leaky. This increases intestinal permeability. This permeability means that undigested food, toxins, chemicals, waste, all of these things that are supposed to stay in our GI tract can enter our body through the bloodstream. This causes a systemic inflammatory response and can exacerbate food sensitivities and autoimmune conditions. A great supplement to support a healthy gut lining and combat leaky gut is the Pepsin GI. It's a form of zinc carnosine. Zinc is a really important mineral that does lots of amazing things for the body. It helps with tissue healing, it helps create proteins and DNA, and it's really good for the immune system. Zinc carnosine is great for gut health because it helps maintain the mucous membranes that line the stomach and the GI tract. Carnosine is an antioxidant that allows zinc to dissolve a little more slowly. This means that the zinc's able to hang out in your stomach a little bit longer so it can exert its gut healing effects without affecting normal digestive function. And I love the supplement because it doesn't have any sugar, yeast, preservatives, or added dyes, and it's really easy to take on the go. You can take it with or without food, and it's a chewable tablet. Now I'd like to give you a really brief overview of our nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system is the part of our nervous system that controls unconscious things. Things like digestion, heart rate, breathing rate, etc. Our autonomic nervous system is divided into two parts, sympathetic and parasympathetic. So the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, this becomes activated when we encounter a stressor. The classical example of this is we encounter a bear and we need to run away. However, most of us aren't encountering wild animals on a day-to-day basis. Instead, we have this stress response with the more common stressors in our lives. Work deadlines, text and email, the news, sitting in traffic. So when we have this response, blood is shunted away from our digestive organs and it goes to our extremities, our arms and legs, so we can run away. Adrenaline or epinephrine is released to increase our heart rate. So this is a wonderful adaptive response if we're trying to run away from a bear, but it's not so great if we're sitting at our desk, or worse, if we're at the dinner table. The parasympathetic state, or rest and digest, happens in the absence of a stressor to calm the body. In this state, saliva and digestive enzymes are increased, and smooth intestinal muscles propel our food down our GI tract so it can be digested and excreted. But the process of digestion actually occurs before food even enters our mouth. When we see or smell something delicious, our saliva starts to increase, and this actually triggers a whole hormonal cascade that basically signals our stomach and our pancreas to spit out more digestive fluids. So we see food, we smell food, it's a little signal to our body to say, hey, we're about to eat, let's get ready for the food. This process doesn't happen when we're eating on the go. If you're driving your car and you're eating a sandwich or throwing some chips in your mouth, our bodies realize it's time to start digesting when that food plops into our stomach. In the parasympathetic state, digestion and detoxification are enhanced. We can all benefit from increasing the amount of time we're in this relaxed parasympathetic state. High fiber foods are really important for colon health. So fiber includes resistant starch, soluble fiber, and insoluble fiber. And these are really important nutrients that help ensure a healthy and diverse gut microbiome. They feed our gut microbiome and help promote its growth and activity. The best way to increase fiber in your diet is using food as medicine. It's a huge part of my practice and a tenet of naturopathic medicine. High fiber foods include leafy greens, my personal favorite, apples, berries, beets, pears, psyllium, and flaxseed. Sometimes, however, we need to supplement in addition to using food as medicine. And for that, I really love the Prebiotic Plus from Endurance Products. It's a chewable tablet. It's easy to use, it tastes good, it doesn't have any preservatives or artificial flavoring in it, and it's really great for some extra gut microbiome support when you're on the go or traveling. I'm going to leave you today with my top 5 tips for optimal gut health. The first is drink enough water. As long as you don't have any heart or kidney problems, a good recommendation is to aim for half your body weight in fluid ounces of water per day. More if you exercise or drink caffeine. For example, a 150-pound person should aim to drink about 75 ounces of water daily. The second is food hygiene. So much of the nutritional world is really focused on what we eat, but how we eat has immense benefits for our health. We want to make sure we're eating slowly, like this snail, in a calm, low-stress environment. You also want to avoid multitasking. When you're eating dinner, just eat dinner. And that's a little harder than it sounds. But you want to avoid scrolling on your phone, watching TV, answering work emails, etc. I also recommend drinking most of your water away from mealtime. I know I just talked about the importance of hydration, but if you drink a huge glass of water while you're eating, that water actually dilutes our stomach acid and can make it a little bit harder for our body to break down food. Having sips of water or your favorite beverage during mealtime is okay, but save most of your hydration for before or after mealtime. Lastly, I recommend finishing eating for the day about 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. This makes sure that your food is properly digested before you lay down, rather than it just kind of sitting in your stomach all night long. Number 3, eat the rainbow. Whether you're vegan, keto, paleo, omnivore, flexitarian, I recommend a diet rich in colorful foods. So colorful fruits and vegetables have chemicals in them called polyphenols and anthocyanidins. These are antioxidants that help combat damage by free radicals and can actually slow the aging process. So if you look down at your plate and it's mostly brown, add in some color. Purple cabbage, green kale, blueberries, orange bell peppers, etc. Number 4, get enough fiber. So fiber helps with cholesterol balance, it helps contribute to satiety, promotes regular bowel movements, and aids in toxin excretion. Fiber also feeds our gut microbiome. A good recommendation is about 50 grams of fiber per day. If you're not anywhere close to this, I recommend increasing fiber very slowly because it can cause bloating, especially in folks who have SIBO. The best types of fiber come from a farm, not from anything with a box or a wrapper. So again, high fibrous foods include leafy greens, psyllium, flax, apples, pears, beets, and berries. Fiber can lower the risk of cardiovascular disease, colon cancer, obesity, and diabetes. My 5th tip is cultivating a regular mindfulness practice. Mindfulness improves our resilience to stressors, lowers cortisol, and strengthens the immune system. And all of these things directly support gut health. Remember I talked about the parasympathetic state, that rest and digest? The more time we can spend in this restful, relaxed state, which mindfulness can help get us to, the better our digestion will be. So these are my top tips for gut health. Adequate hydration, food hygiene, eat the rainbow, get enough fiber, and have a mindfulness practice. These are my recommendations for everyone, but you are unique and your wellness program should be tailored to you. If you'd like to chat more, I'd love to offer you a free discovery call where we can get to know each other. So please feel free to book that on my website. Thank you. Again, I'm Kat Bodden, naturopathic doctor and owner of Sea Change Medicine. Today we talked about ways in which you can support a healthy gut microbiome, and we learned why gut health is so important.